Hey, Dick, I'm probably going to be arrested for DWI.
Mr. Nolan, it's for you.
4 things, 4 mistakes that you should absolutely avoid if you are arrested for DWI in the state of Missouri. My name is Patrick Nolan. I'm an attorney licensed in the state of Missouri. This is Pat Talks Law. Okay, 4 mistakes to avoid when arrested for DWI. Look, you're driving home or you're driving somewhere, lights come on, you pull over, the officer comes up and talks to you, hauls you out of the car. Now he wants to give you a field sobriety test. He wants you to train monkey tricks. Here's the deal. First, remember, we're going to address the 4 critical mistakes that you need to avoid making when you're arrested for DWI in the state of Missouri. Okay. First, shut up. You are not going to talk your way out of this. Shut up. Okay. If you are arrested for DWI, the absolute last thing you want to do is talk to the officer. Okay. You know, ideally, you're not going to say anything. You're going to let an attorney handle this for you. Okay. The officer's going to talk to you. You're going to say, I invoke the 5th. I want my attorney. I invoke the 5th. I want my attorney. Okay, we'll run through this practice here in just a second, but once you're arrested, the officer is not going to release you. That's not going to change. Now, I have had a conversation with a police officer who told me that one time he had somebody do the field sobriety test and he didn't arrest him. One time. 25 years as a police officer. One time. Okay? Don't do it. Field sobriety tests are trained monkey tricks. They are not designed for you to pass. Horizontal gaze nystagmus, okay? There are tens of dozens of types of nystagmus. Your doctor in the emergency room can't look at you and tell what kind of nystagmus you have. The police officer with 8 hours training on the street doesn't have a chance. But we're going to pretend that he does. No, don't do it. Don't do it. It's not going to help you. Okay, so let's practice this. Why did you stop me, officer? Okay, I'm not going to talk about my day. Are you detaining me or am I free to go? I invoke the 5th. I want my attorney. And then shut up. I invoke the 5th. I want my attorney. I'm not going to answer any questions without my attorney. I want my attorney. Yes. If you were going to get a ticket, you're still going to get a ticket. If the officer's going to arrest you, he's going to arrest you based on his observations at that time. He's not going to be able to use the field sobriety test that you're not going to take. He's not going to be able to say, well, yeah, he staggered and he swayed during the one-legged stand that I did off camera that nobody else can see and I have no evidence of. They're not going to be able to say, well, he stepped off the imaginary line on the walk and turn. Well, how wide was the imaginary line? Well, my imaginary line was only, 3/4 of an inch wide. His imaginary line might have been 6 inches, but I never addressed that with him. Don't do it. Horizontal gaze nystagmus. I have yet to see a police officer do that test correctly. I have yet to see a court hold the police officer to doing it correctly. It's a myth. This is just a mill-generated, hi, by the way, you're now guilty. Don't do it. Now, when you get down to the station, this is the second part, and this one's critical. This is your second point. When you get to the station, and the police officer starts reading you the implied consent, and he asks you if you're going to take the breath test. You need to ask for an attorney. You have 20 minutes to contact your attorney. Ask for your attorney. Ask to use the phone and call your attorney. And call and talk to an attorney. Ask for a phone book. Ask for the internet. Ask for your cell phone. Call an attorney. You have 20 minutes, use them. Why? because you need to know whether or not you're going to take that breath test. Look, on a first offense in Missouri, you're facing a maximum of 6 months in jail, $1,000 fine, loss of license for 90 days. It may well be worth taking the breath test. We can fight it. The science behind the breath test, there's a lot that goes into it. You know, we can work with that. It might be in the interest to take the breath test. And if you call me, we'll talk about it, we'll find a situation, and the advice might be take the test, we'll go from there. If, for example, you've drunk, 5 bottles of Jack Daniels in the last 3 hours, you know you're going to be a 0.35, and you're saying, man, I'm that, we might not want to take the breath test, or hell, we might want to, because the likelihood people are going to see a number like that and say this machine's broken. But this is an individualized thing that can only be addressed really at that time with the facts at hand. Now, an attorney might say, look, this is your 3rd DWI. You're going to lose your license for 5 years if we lose the administrative hearing anyway. Don't take the breath test. Refusing to take the breath test isn't going to hurt you anymore at this point. They're going to say, he refused to take the breath test at trial. Okay. But if you are wasted and you refuse to take the breath test, they're not going to have a number to use. If you are relatively sober and you refuse to take a breath test, we won't be able to use that in your defense. So that's why you talk to an attorney. If you sound wasted to the attorney, he's going to tell you not to take it. If you sound like you're completely sober to the attorney, you describe what you had to drink and the math says that you're probably not over the 0.08 legal limit, then the attorney may say, yeah, take the breath test, we can handle it. And of course, that may be irrelevant depending on the county you're in. Some counties are no refusal counties, where if you refuse a breath test, they're going to seek a warrant, they're going to go draw blood. Drawing blood in and of itself isn't necessarily a bad thing. There's a whole nother layer of potential error there. They've got to draw the blood properly. It's got to be stored properly. It has to be tested properly. It needs to be chain evidence on the blood. Then when it is tested properly, we look at the lab tech's equipment, make sure everything's functioning. And there's a lot of avenues to attack a blood test. But that doesn't mean that it's a sure thing. So, first, shut up. Second, talk to an attorney before you make a decision on whether or not to take the breath test or consent to a blood test. Third, don't plead guilty just because you think you're guilty. You don't know. Just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. You may have had some drinks. You may have been driving after some drinks. But that doesn't mean that you were 0.08 or more at the time you were driving. It may very well mean that you just had a couple of drinks. Okay? There are a lot of people that think that if they blew over the 0.08, they're guilty. But actually blowing over 0.08 doesn't mean you're guilty. The machine could be malfunctioning. You could be a diabetic having a blood sugar condition. There are a number of things. You could have dental work that is retaining alcohol in your mouth. The officer may not have done a proper inspection of your mouth, and you could have had food in your mouth still. There are a lot of things that can go into whether or not you actually are guilty. And then even if you are, an experienced attorney can help mitigate the consequences of that. Okay? So the prosecution has to prove a number of elements beyond a reasonable doubt. The defense attorney tries to shoot all of them down. And even if they do get all of those elements, an experienced defense attorney can still help mitigate the consequences. Don't plead guilty just because you think you're guilty. Talk to an attorney. Talk to an experienced attorney. Talk to a criminal defense attorney. Talk to a DWI attorney. And don't hire the first attorney you talk to. Okay? A lot of people that are arrested for DWI look for either the cheapest attorney or the first attorney. And, not every attorney does the same thing. Not every attorney's got the same educational background. Not every attorney does the CLEs, does the training, and knows who to call for help when they need it. Hire an attorney that is comfortable with you, that you can talk to, that you feel like you can talk to, you can tell the truth to, you can discuss your case with, that is willing to take the time to talk to you, will take your phone calls, your emails, will lay out everything, discuss it with you. You want to make sure that they're experienced and you guys are a good fit, because you are going to be working together for a period of months, and you need to know that. Getting an attorney, especially in DWI, it's very important that you move quickly. In the state of Missouri, you have 15 days to file your appeal for the civil license revocation. So you have 15 days to seek the administrative hearing. And if you don't, you're going to lose that right and you will lose your license. So you have to move quickly. But move quickly and move intelligently. Talk to more than one attorney. Talk to an attorney and get one that works well with you. Those are the 4 critical mistakes that you should make sure that you don't make when you're faced with DWI. If you enjoy seeing this content, please like and subscribe and hit the alert button so that you'll get notified when we have something new. Thank you.